Police remain on high alert this morning amid ongoing unrest surrounding anti-ICE protests here in the city.
Joining us right now on Good Day New York is Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch with the safety plans the NYPD has in place. Thank you for joining us as always, Commissioner.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's review a little bit before we move forward here. 86 arrests last night. How many protesters were there, and can you explain to us exactly what happened that led to these arrests?
Sure. So last night we had about 2,500 protesters, largely in Lower Manhattan. They started in Foley Square, which is right near the federal office building, 26 Federal Plaza. As I mentioned, largely peaceful. Many of them marched up to Washington Square Park and dispersed. As it got darker out, we had a group of, I'd say, up to 400 who remained by 26 Federal Plaza. And we did make 86 arrests. We want to maintain everyone's right to protest peacefully in this city and in this country, but we will not tolerate chaos and disorder or violence. And when we saw people breaking the rule or breaking the law, we stepped in and made arrests swiftly.
Okay, you're in charge of the NYPD. We've seen in Los Angeles the president bring in Marines and the National Guard, despite the governor arguing. We see the governor of Texas now saying he's going to bring in the National Guard. Do you think there will be additional support required here in New York should these protests move forward?
In New York City, the NYPD has the responsibility to maintain safety and order on our streets, and we will not abdicate that responsibility. At the NYPD, we have a unit called the Strategic Response Group. That unit, basically what they do day in and day out for the past several years is police protests. They are expert in it. No one does it better than them. They were out there in full force last night, making sure that everyone could protest peacefully and stepping in swiftly when individuals got out of hand.
So there were pictures of Chief Shell and Commissioner Daughtry with President Trump last weekend, and there was talk that they were speaking with the president on behalf of the NYPD that we got this. You don't need to call in the National Guard here.
Well, we certainly do got this at the NYPD, and we have spent the weekend on the phone with lots of our federal partners. I was on the phone with our federal partners in New York City from the FBI, Homeland Security investigations, all of the different agencies with a very clear message, which is at the NYPD, we have this under control. We have plans in place so that if it escalates, we can bring cops in from all over the city. We have an army of 34,000 uniformed members of the service in New York City, and New Yorkers should know that the NYPD is prepared for whatever comes our way.
So, Commissioner, who were the people that were arrested last night? Do we know, were they New Yorkers? Were they from out of town, outside agitators? What do you know?
So my sense is that the vast majority of the, 2,500 people that were there to protest peacefully. There was a smaller group of a few hundred where we did have to make arrests, and some of them were
What were they doing?
Some of them were looking for trouble. So some of them were throwing litter baskets into the street or rubbish into the street, those types of things, and we will not tolerate chaos on our streets.
These protests are in response to immigration raids that are going on all across the country. The city council here, led by the Speaker, Adrian Adams, has said they want to investigate whether or not the NYPD is cooperating with federal immigration officials on civil cases, not just criminal cases. Are you?
At the New York City Police Department, we do not engage in civil immigration enforcement, period. I appeared before the City Council for several hours at my executive budget hearing just a week or two ago. I think I got a grand total of no questions on this issue, so I am surprised that this is now being referred to the Department of Investigation, but we do not have anything to hide. We are very clear on what the sanctuary city laws are, and we have been very clear with our officers about the policies that we will comply with those laws, and I think our cops have done an extraordinary job of complying.
Friends of mine this morning are sending me text messages. They're very concerned about protests over the weekend. What do you know about those protests, and are you prepared? So, and will you be prepared differently?
So there are protests planned across the country over the next several days, but certainly I think there's a big one that is planned for Saturday. And as I was mentioning, at the NYPD, we have a centralized unit that deals with protests, but we've also put plans in place so that if the protests get quite large, we can call resources in from other parts of the city.
No National Guards?
Certainly not. We plan to, we are are fully able to police these protests well and professionally and ensure that everyone can get out there, express their thoughts peacefully, and if there is any violence, we will step in swiftly.
Hey, while we have you here, before we let you go, I want to switch subjects real quick and talk about this sad story with a 2-year-old toddler who's missing. You're searching the Bronx River. You know, he's been missing since May 10th. The family says they called the police department, didn't get a response, didn't get reported to detectives, and that kind of maybe delayed the search a little bit. First of all, what do you know about that investigation as to whether or not that happened? And also, what can you tell us about the investigation to look for the little boy?
So first on the case, we do have the father in custody, and right now he is charged with custodial interference. He is a person of interest in the disappearance of the child, and our efforts right now are to try to locate that child. Unfortunately, we do have video of someone throwing a package off of a bridge into the Bronx River, and so we have had divers and scuba teams out searching the Bronx River, and we'll keep you posted on that. We are looking into the initial reports to the police department and of the missing child and how those were handled. But I want to be very clear, the NYPD takes any case of a missing person very seriously, and we are looking into how the initial report from the family was handled.
It's a sad story all the way around. Police Commissioner, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me.